Hi, y'all! As it should come to a shock to no one who knows me at all, I love Jane Austen. But sometimes when I tell people, usually men, that Jane Austen is my favorite writer, they try to belittle her and her work, and it can be a little, okay, super annoying. I've often found when I meet people who only know Jane Austen's work from one movie or one miniseries, they do not know the impact her work has had. I remember once meeting a man who, when I said my favorite author was Jane Austen, started talking about how his wife had made him watch a version of Pride and Prejudice and how predictable it had been. He then said it had basically done the cliche of if a man and a woman didn't get along at first, of course they would get together. This man seemed genuinely flabbergasted when I pointed out that the story was over 200 years old, and those cliches he was thinking of had most likely come from this story originally. So much Jane Austen's work has influenced the stories that we know and love today that people forget that actually she invented those tropes. Prejudice is still one of the most retold love stories. Its impact on romantic media is easy to point out. You have movies like Bridget Jones' Diaries, which are direct retellings, of course. Bridget Jones does not try to hide its inspiration at all. I mean, it had Colin Firth playing a character called Mr. Darcy, for God's sakes. But many stories use the trope, now affectionately called enemies to lovers. Another example of a movie that does not hide its inspiration is You've Got Mail. And You've Got Mail is not a direct Pride and Prejudice retelling. It is in fact a retelling of Miklos Laszlo's Perfumery, and I'm sorry for my, I'm sure not great, Hungarian pronunciation. And Perfumery itself has inspired many movies and shows, such as Shop Around the Corner and She Loves Me. But You've Got Mail does acknowledge its roots in Pride and Prejudice by having the main characters talk about the book. It's the book they bond over, and that Tom Hanks' character reads because he knows that Meg Ryan's character loves it. There are many other stories that use the enemies to lover trope. One such example is The Hating Game. Both the movie and the book that it's based have two people who work together but cannot get along until they really get to know each other. It's very reminiscent of Pride and Prejudice to have it that when two people start to really spend time together at home, that's when they start to see each other's true colors. This type of story is so common in romances now, but Austen's work was the trailblazer for many of these things. In fact, Pride and Prejudice is mentioned on the TV tropes page for the trope once original, now common. The page says this about her. Jane Austen, and to a lesser extent the Bronte sisters, suffer from this. Their novels had massive influence over the romance novel to the point that they may appear hopelessly cliched and even a bit lowbrow because of the countless imitators. And more specifically, Pride and Prejudice is one half this and one half values dissonance. By the standards of today, it's a generic cliche storm that doesn't have any tropes the reader hasn't seen before, because it was the first trope codifier for the romantic comedy. In addition, Mr. Darcy is almost a cliche in its own right for being troubled but cute, because he was the first major example of the troubled but cute deadpan snarker as the male lead. I mean, it just seems like Pride and Prejudice did it so well, everyone just wanted to copy Austen. The novel Emma, which is a personal favorite of mine, can also be seen as the precursor to the now common trope Friends to Lovers. A popular movie with the storyline is When Harry Met Sally. The two characters have known each other for a long time, but it takes them a while to realize their feelings are more romantic. Like in Emma, the characters have a bit of a falling out before they end up getting together, with the hero making a speech to the heroine, or in the case of Emma, Mr. Knightley making one of the best love confessions after saying he's not good at speeches. I could not make speeches, Emma, as he soon resumed, and in a tone of such sincere, decided, intelligible tenderness as was tolerably convincing. If I loved you less, I might be able to talk about it more. I mean, can you see why it's a personal favorite of mine? And he goes on to say that Emma will hear nothing but the truth from him, which I feel translates very nicely into the famous speech from When Harry Met Sally, when he's saying he loves all the normal, everyday things about her. I love that you get cold when it's 71 degrees out. I love that it takes you an hour and a half to order a sandwich. I love that you get a little crinkle above your nose when you're looking at me like I'm nuts. One of the things I personally really like about Friends to Lover stories, and I'm sure others do as well, is the love the couple has for each other is because they really know each other. It's not just infatuation. They see the real person's flaws, and they still love them. Jane Austen's Persuasion is a classic example of a second-chance romance. Two people finding their way back to each other after something kept them apart when they were young is something we see in many modern love stories, such as The Notebook. Both these stories, letters feature in a pivotal way near the end, as well as the family of the heroine keeping the couple apart. In both the stories, the families think that the hero is beneath their station in life and tell the heroine that he is not good enough for her. This is part of the reason they are kept apart for so long. Both Captain Wentworth and Noah end up in the news in some way. Wentworth for his naval exploits, and Noah for restoring the house that he and Allie had once loved. In the notebook, one of the reasons Allie moves on is that she thought Noah had given up on them, since he never wrote her, only to discover in a very famous scene that Noah had in fact written to her. I wrote you 365 letters. I wrote you every day for a year. I soon realized that Allie's mother had kept the letters from her, and part of what makes her choose Noah in the end is reading those love letters from him. Persuasion, of course, has one of the most famous letters in all of literature, where Wentworth confesses that he still loves Anne. I can listen no longer in silence. I must speak to you by such means as are within my reach. You pierce my soul. I am half agony, half hope. Tell me not that I am too late, that such precious feelings are gone forever. I could keep reading the letter, but I'm pretty sure we all know it, and, I don't need to sit here gushing over it. That could be its own video. It is, of course, this letter that makes Anne realize that it's not too late for her and Wentworth to have a happy ending. You can clearly see the traces of the lovers being able to come back together after other people or circumstances have kept them apart in the notebook and other stories. Jane Austen created these amazing love stories and used these tropes so well that it was almost inevitable that storytellers would copy them. And I'm sure there are more examples that you're thinking of right now that I didn't even mention in this video. And people are still copying Jane Austen 200 years later, but we need to remember who started all this. So next time someone tries to tell you that Jane Austen wrote predictable love stories, let them know that she is the blueprint. I want to thank all of y'all for watching, and I want to thank all the virtual JaneCon volunteers, and especially Bianca Hernandez Knight for organizing this every year. I will see you all around virtual JaneCon. Bridget Jones does not try to hide it. Another example of a movie that does not. Oh. Miklos Laszlo. It's not a Pride and Prejudice retelling. But a perfume. It's the book they bond over, and it's very reminiscent of Pride and Prejudice to have it. It is. By the standards of Pride and more specifically, Pride and Prejudice is one half this and one half values deficit. And more specifically, Pride and Prejudice is one half this and one half Pride and Prejudice. One half this and one half values dissonance. Jesus Christ. And Pride and Prejudice is one half this and one half values dissonance. By the standards of Pride and Prejudice is one half this and one half values dissonant. Oh my god, okay. The novel Emma, which is a personal favorite of mine, can also be seen as a precursor to the now common trope and I was gonna say enemies to lovers, okay. Jane Austen's persuasion is Jane. In both these stories, letters, I can listen no longer in silence. I must speak to you by such means. I can listen no longer in silence. I must speak to you by such means as are. I can listen no longer. Oh my god. Tell me not that I am too late, that such precious feelings are gone forever. God damn it. I got so close. I can listen no longer in silence. I must speak to you by such means as are. must speak to you by such means as I can. And I'm sure there are more examples that you're thinking of right now that I didn't even mention in this video.